What's going on, guys? So today I want to walk through 10 huge, costly, deadly seller mistakes you can do when selling on Amazon FBA. Okay, so this is something that's very serious if you want to save money, save time, and not go through the hiccups I have. Essentially, hiccups is a it's a dull word for what I've gone through when it comes to Amazon. Unfortunately, I speak with a lot of experience when it comes to wasting tens and tens of thousands of dollars and months of my time when it comes to making mistakes on Amazon FBA. Just the fact of I kind of had an ego when I first started this thing. So my first 3 years, I did this business by myself. I didn't network. I didn't ask people who were successful how to avoid these issues or what to look for or what the roadmap looks like. I just thought I'd do it myself and go from there, which I think is one of my biggest regrets when it comes to Amazon FBA is not talking to someone who's done it before successfully, because it could have saved me tens and tens of thousands of dollars, which I'm going to walk through each mistake that I made and what to look out for. That way you can avoid these mistakes I made that essentially they could have killed my business. There's a few of them which I'll talk about in depth a little bit, kind of on the sadder side, emotional side of when I go through these things, that they probably should have killed my business, but luckily I'm still standing and still good to go here. So I want to walk you through these based on my personal experience of selling on Amazon, these mistakes I made, as well as what you can do to avoid these things, and also just talk about my journey in general when it comes to these mistakes. Real quick before we get started, my name's Cameron James. If you don't know who I am, my first year on Amazon sold $1.3 million in sales there. Since then, I've built multiple 6 and 7 figure Amazon FBA stores and do this full time. But anyways, guys, let's just hop right into the video and get into these mistakes that I've gone through that can save you a crap ton of time and money and hair loss, right? Stress, gaining those extra 10 pounds, just everything that comes with this business if you don't do it correctly the first time, right? Because I don't think this business is hard. It's just a lot of little steps you got to get in the right order. And there's some just little mistakes that you make that can cost thousands of dollars. And there's multiple of these traps laid out throughout the whole process. So with that being said, I want to talk about the first mistake that I made quite a few times, and that is thinking PPC, so Amazon advertising on their platform, is the be all end all for scaling and launching a product. Okay. So what I mean by this is, yes, PPC is a great tool. So people who don't know what this is, what PPC is you can literally say you're selling a lemon squeezer on Amazon. You can go ahead and make an advertising campaign to put your product up on the top search for that word lemon squeezer. So when someone searches it, they can find it. Okay. So this is a great tool when you start, but it's not the be all end all. So I meet a lot of people, myself included, that will just, especially when I first started, I would spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on PPC just saying like, oh, this has got to work. This is how you scale this business. This is, the be all end all. This is the only option I have. Okay. And there's been multiple products that I've done this way too long for and just watched month after month my credit card get charged thousands of dollars for spending on advertising and just blowing that when the product maybe just didn't work at all. Maybe it was just a bad product that we shouldn't have continued. Or depending on that product niche, that product market, there was a better way to launch this product, whether that be, YouTube ads, YouTube organic, Facebook ads, doing a Facebook group, getting an Instagram account, paying for influencers, getting an email list, building a funnel. There's all these different types of ways people don't think about that you can launch your product, get traction, and get, your first sales, spend that money more efficiently. And again, it's hard for me to say what is the best, hopefully your PPC, your advertising can just get you sales right away. Again, just a quick note here. It's not going to be profitable at first, just because, you have 0 reviews. You got to work your way up. So you should understand that. But there are some markets where there's other options that are better fits. And again, it just depends on that market. So it depends on what category you're in, what niche you're in, and depends on your skill set as well of what other tools we can use for best fits. So hopefully PPC is something you use right away and get some traction with, and maybe it works right away and maybe it doesn't, but you just understand like, hey, if this really isn't working, I need to go back to the drawing board and figure something else out until one day I have 50 reviews or 100 reviews. And then PPC becomes easier and easier and easier. And you convert more and more and more. You'll see that a lot too, is like my PPC isn't working from 0 to 10 reviews. And then finally get to 50 reviews, like, oh, PPC is so easy. Like it just runs itself now. It's weird how that works, but that's kind of how it is. So don't get stuck in the trap of spending thousands and thousands and thousands on PPC, just banging your head against the wall. I've done this with multiple products when I should have stopped a lot sooner. Okay. Number two mistake I see a lot and have done myself, and that is involving international shipping. So we know international shipping is scary. There's customs, there's tariffs, there's duties, there's all this crazy stuff. Me trying not to laugh when I said duties there. Sorry about that. But what you guys need to know is that I messed up on this quite a few times when I first started because I wanted to learn everything about customs. I wanted to learn everything about international shipping. And this is a full-time job. This is one of the more complicated things in the Amazon field if you really want to learn it. So what you need to know is there's certain things you should take your time learning, and Amazon's enough already, like with the whole skill set you need to learn to be successful at this, to hire this out, right? So to get someone to do it for you. And this is my biggest mistake is we talked to people, we got customs forms, we tried filling these things out ourselves. It was a huge waste of time because it is a full-time job. If you want to do that, maybe this is your skill set. Well, then you can go charge other Amazon sellers and do it for them. But my biggest thing moving forward was getting a freight forwarder. So someone who handled this for me entirely. So someone who picked up my goods, in the Chinese manufacturer, wherever it's at, got it to a port, shipped it across the sea or did air freight to the US and got it through customs, got it through everything without hiccups, without having any things get held up, things like that. Okay. Because if you get the wrong freight forwarder too, something to be aware about, if they skip some tariff forms or they're not doing things by the book, those are huge fines. Your product gets stuck in customs for 3 to 4 months while they figure this out. It's not a fun time. Okay. Another mistake on top of this is you can pay your manufacturer for shipping. And I did this for the first 6 months, but they were overcharging me. Okay. So, I order more products, say like my orders kept getting bigger. So my costs would come down from the products, but my shipping kept increasing, from the ratio there kept increasing. And they were just trying to fill up the discount they're giving me. And they just, too many things they had control of. So separating that really get me at the fairest prices when it comes to my products. And that really helped me out. On to number three, guys, and that is intellectual property infringement, essentially issues. So IP issues. And what I mean by this is infringing on someone else's trademark or infringing on someone else's copyright, things like this. Okay, so let me tell you a little story that why this is so important, and then I'll talk about how I could have prevented it really easily if I just would have talked to someone that knew what the hell they're talking about. So we had a product, it was a Christmas product, and we just placed it was around $200,000 to $300,000 order for this product. We're going all out on it, and so it's like October. The product's getting in. Our supply we already have in there starting to ramp up. We're doing like $10,000 days when we're feeling really good about ourselves. And we know just when Christmas starts, December, we're in October doing $10,000 days. And when December comes, we're gonna be doing $50,000, $60,000 days. And we're excited. That's why we placed this $200,000 to $300,000 order. But imagine this, there were some issues. So when that product was coming across to the boat or to the port of LA to get in there, what happened was our listing was taken down from intellectual property dispute, essentially. So another brand coming at us and say we're using stuff on our listing that we shouldn't be, infringing on their rights, everything like that. So Amazon took our listing down. And then what happened was at that port, when the products did come in and get shipped to Amazon, they wouldn't take the shipment. So we had about $300,000 worth of goods just chilling at the port, and Amazon would not accept them. And they sat there for like 4 months because we didn't know what the hell we're doing. So we missed Christmas season. So we missed our $1 million Q4 essentially, if not more. Our margins were very fat. I still have some haunting dreams about that Q4. It would have changed things even further for me. But anyways, beyond the point, it's just another learning lessons that hopefully you guys can avoid and that I can avoid in the future as well. But essentially, it was just a simple word on the listing. I didn't understand how these things worked with Amazon cases that well yet. It was our second year, our second Q4 there. And so essentially, I'll get into kind of how we could have fixed this. But essentially, we're out about $300,000 worth of goods that are just chilling there for 3 to 4 months. We had to pay storage fees on top of those. We missed all of Q4, and it's a Christmas product. So once we get that stuff back in, we eventually got it resolved in like February of the next year. Well, the sales had completely stopped. It was such a big year for our competitors. They got thousands and thousands of reviews that we should have got too, because they sold all their inventory like we were supposed to. So we didn't keep up in reviews. So we were crushed and just bottomed out. And it took so long to catch back up that we just didn't catch the next wave. We slowly sold out the next year for a huge loss. And it was one of the saddest experiences I had with Amazon FBA. So to fix this, guys, all I should have done is, one, I should have talked to other people who are successful sellers that could potentially help me out. Because eventually what happened was I realized there's services out there that could have took care of this for me. In talking to these services and getting to know Amazon a little bit better, I started to understand like, oh, I could have dealt with this so much sooner and got rid of this quicker and avoided this whole issue. That's the hardest part, is when you go through some of these mistakes and it takes 6 months to resolve, and you're like, that would have took 2 weeks to figure out if I knew what the hell I was doing. If I wouldn't talk to people, if I would have talked to someone who's done it before successfully, if I talked to the right services, networked, and found the right connection, I could have got rid of this in 2 weeks. And then I could have had the skill set to take care of it in 2 weeks the next time it happens. Because in Amazon, this kind of stuff always happens. And it's just something you got to be prepared for, always be learning about, and expect to have to take care of those things. So I wish I would have networked. I wish I would have figured this out, talked to people, and I could have fixed this up. And again, it's one of the biggest mistakes I've made at Amazon, and it cost me 7 figures. Like, no joke, like, not to be over embellishing there. It did cost me 7 figures. It's one of those things that haunts me quite a bit. So moving on to number 4 here, guys. So account suspensions and account registrations. So some of the biggest mistakes I see with people is they can't get their account registered and they have account suspensions. So it kind of goes into the IP thing here, but it's a little different, more broader sense with accounts. So when you're registering your account, there's a lot of documents they need, right? And we have to set these up the proper way. We need our addresses to line up, our names to line up. We have to come from the right countries. Do we have an LLC? Do we have the right bank account? Do we have a credit card that's internationally chargeable? Our documents, is Amazon going to accept them? Do they want a utility bill? So getting to know this process and really taking the time before you set up your account is a thing that I see a lot of people not doing. And they're spent 3 to 4 months just trying to set up their account because Amazon just keeps declining it, or it gets suspended right away, or it could have just been all avoided if you just knew what it took to start an Amazon account the right way. So take your time when it comes to that. And then account suspensions in general, you will have account suspension here or there. I've had multiple of these. I've had clients' accounts get merged and get suspended, and I've had clients yelling at me because they got their account suspended along with my accounts getting suspended, which is a whole other story of it's called related account suspensions. And so if they relate accounts together, so first of all, don't go make 2, 3, 4 accounts without Amazon's permissions, because they'll link those. One gets suspended, they'll take them all down. And that's what happened with my clients' accounts and my accounts. And it was a dirty, dirty scene for about 3 to 4 months. A lesson here I learned is go find good help for this. Okay, so this is so complicated that you need to go find a good service that has handled this before. It took me 3 to 4 months to figure out that I didn't know what I was doing for this mistake as well. And it took them about a week when I found the right service to take care of that for me. Okay. So again, do it the right way, do your research beforehand. And then if you are running into troubles and you don't want to waste, 3 to 4 months of your time, obviously learn all you can, but then go get help if it's necessary. Because, say it's $1,000 to get that, have a service fix it for you. If you have, a bunch of sales getting missed out, like think of the opportunity cost, right? If you're doing 5,000 in sales, or you're about to get to 5,000 in sales and your account gets shut for 3 to 4 days, what is that really worth? I'd say $1,000 to get that fixed within a week is probably worth that, right? So keep that in mind. I do have Appeal Wizards is the service I recommend for that, which I talk about in my channel quite a bit there. So going on to mistake number 5 here, and that is not finding your products creatively. So many people come to me and their product is already toasted. Cameron, I'm not selling anything. What's going on? How do I fix this? Well, I can't fix a bad product. I can't fix a product that doesn't fit in the market, okay? And if you don't find a product creatively, essentially what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk into a field and then 3 months later it's gonna be oversaturated, okay? And what I mean by this is, okay, say you find a really good product on a product research app, which you can do, but there's gonna be 50 other eyeballs on that same product. And guess what? When you get into that marketplace 3 months later, because it takes 3 months to get it created, find your supplier, get it shipped over, and you start selling, there's about 100 new competitors in that same product selling the same thing. And guess what happens with the price point? Boop. It just gets demolished. So now your price point's destroyed. And so you have to lower your price to compete with the other competitors, and your margins are now 5%, 10% in razor thin, and you just lose. So you need to find products creatively. That way there's not this issue where there's 50 new competitors coming along. And I talk about a lot on my channel, so I won't go too deep into this. But what I mean here when I say find products creatively is like you need to come in and down a rabbit hole to find a product that no one else can kind of mimic, right? And then you need to add some kind of value or some different angle into the market to make it different, to make it your own, to make it unique, make it very hard to copy and mimic, to make it stand out versus those 50 other competitors, those listings that all look the same, okay? So that's what I mean by that. So we need to find and take our time with product research to do this correctly. So that's one of the biggest things, right? So if you don't do product research correctly, the rest of the business will tumble, it will fall. So nothing else will work if we don't do product research correctly. So make sure you take your time on that and make sure you find products creatively and make sure you're getting as much data as possible to make educated decisions. Okay, so if I would have gone back and done this myself, what I would have done is I would have paid someone, and again, it doesn't have to be me. I know I have a program and everything like that, so it seems a little biased, but it doesn't have to be me. But what I would have done 4 or 5 years ago when I first started, because my first 3 products were failures, probably wasted $15,000 on those at least. I would have found someone who's done it before. I would have paid them for their time, have them inspect my products, have them give me ideas and tips of things to avoid, everything like that. Because the issue with product research is there's no perfect checklist. You need experience to do this. And to get experience, you have to waste tens of thousands of dollars like I did, or someone else who's been through this to really know it works on Amazon and what to look out for, because there's a lot of red flags. Okay, so that's something I would have done going back and everything like that. So something to think about. Again, doesn't have to be me. You could probably find enough research on YouTube and things like that to really understand product research better and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you can find someone to help you out with that and check your product, that'd be fantastic to help you avoid. Because to be honest with you guys, if my 4th product didn't work, I wouldn't be standing here today. So I got really lucky that my 4th product did work out, because I was in my last leg. We were running out of money, and I just, it was almost time to get a real job, and that would have killed me. Luckily I stayed, but I don't want that person only has 1 or 2 shots to not take them properly, right? So I had multiple shots, which I was lucky, but if you only have 1 or 2 shots, you need to do it this the right way. Moving on to mistake number 6, and that is not building a brand or thinking about building a brand when you create your 2nd, your 3rd, your 4th set of products there. This is huge, because let me just tell you a little story with this one. Is I have a friend who just sold his business, his Amazon business, for around $3 to $5 million. And he built a brand around his business. He had a real brand identity. He spent a lot of time on this. Yes, it's a lot of work. And we're doing similar-ish numbers on Amazon at that time. And so the broker who sold the business for him, I asked, get in contact with that business. They looked at our account, and our account was worth like jack squat. The reason for this was because we had products in pet supplies, craft goods, rainwear, outdoor games, and it went on. We had at least 20 different categories of products. We had no brand identity. We had nothing. Okay. And it was spreading us too thin. It wasn't worth anything. So 1, the resale value for the business, if you want to sell it, was not good. 2, we didn't have loyal customers buying our 2nd, 3rd, 4th product. So we're scratching and clawing for all 20 different products to get new customers, where if we had 20 products in the same brand, the person who likes our first product is probably going to go buy our 2nd or 3rd or 4th product, or make it a lot easier as well. Just get a real customer list, have a real website where we can have similar products with the one brand name underneath that. So that was one of my biggest mistakes moving forward. Is I wish I would have knew to start a brand right away, or at least start thinking about it, so that I could have put this in place 3-4 years ago and not play catch up and have to restart all over essentially again to really set this up the right way. Because what a brand does is it helps protect your margins, right? So like if people really like your brand, they're going to pay a little bit more. So those competitors can't come in and just, lowball you and take away your sales, things like that. When you have a real brand presence, that doesn't matter. Think of Apple products versus, LG products, things like that, right? As people are willing to pay more for Apple products. I'm not comparing any Amazon brand to Apple, but you know what I'm saying there, just kind of an over the top example. So building a brand, really thinking about that is something that I think people should do at the beginning. Don't get overwhelmed with this at first, but when you start your 2nd, 3rd, 4th product, something you need to start thinking about. Is there a product niche that I really like? Should I expand this way? Should I expand that way? Should I start all over right here and use the cash flow from my first product to start a product in a niche that I really enjoy and can build a brand around? So something to think about there. On to number 7, guys. So a huge mistake sellers make. I talk to people all the time and they don't know what their margins are. This is just mind-boggling. They don't know the margins. They don't know what they're making per sale on Amazon. They don't know where the fees are going with Amazon. They don't know how much Amazon is taking. They don't know where their money's going. You need to understand before, in multiple steps, you need to understand before you sell this product what your potential margin will be, calculating your estimated Amazon FBA fees, the referral fees with that, your cost of goods, along with your shipping and your tariffs, things like that. And then understanding what your take home will be if you have a certain price on Amazon. What are you going to take home? Is it 30%? Is it 40%? Is it 10%? If it's 10%, maybe we don't do this, right? And then after that, once you start selling on Amazon, to get deep into your transactional reports on Amazon to realize like, okay, so I'm selling this for $20 on Amazon. Amazon's taking $12 total with referral fees and FBA fees. So I'm leaving with $8 here total. And my cost of goods are $4. So I'm bringing $4 home per product sale. Okay, so what's my PPC? What's my advertising? Like, what are my numbers here? So understanding your margins are huge. If you don't know if you're making money or not, you're going to fail. It's as simple as that. If you don't understand the numbers behind each sale, you are going to fail. Even if you have 40% margins, you're probably going to fail eventually because something's going to eat away those margins that's going to be unnoticed for a while. And then all of a sudden you're not going to make any money. And then it's going to be a mistake that festers and you're not going to be able to fix it. Okay. So that's it for the number 7 here, guys. Make sure you know what your margins are. It's something I had to learn the hard way. I use software for that. Helium 10 is a great software to track your margins now. Fetcher was a good software, but they ended that, and I believe they merged back into Jungle Scout. But I use Helium 10 for that now to really understand my margins and my numbers behind what's going on, like my gross profit margins, what my take home is, and everything like that. On to number 8, guys, and that is sourcing a bad quality product. Okay. So a bad quality product that gets you 1-star reviews, 2-star reviews. Okay. So if you get, again, if you find a great product opportunity, say the market you found is fan-freaking-tastic. And I've done this a few times, and you get that product, but it's a crappy product. You find a bad supplier, the quality is 1 to 2-star reviews, and then you put that product on Amazon and it gets those 1 to 2-star reviews, and it's all over. Okay, so you can't recoup from this. Your product's crappy. There's a high refund rate. People are returning it. It's breaking on people. Everybody hates it, and this opportunity just out the window. So all the work you did for product research over because you have a bad quality product. So what you need to do what I learned very quickly is when I got some bad quality products, got 1 to 2-star reviews, because once you get a 1-star, 2-star review and they start flooding in, there's no worse feeling in the world. It's like someone just holding you down and slapping you in the face. It's very demoralizing. So if you're going through that right now, just know that you're going to get some 1 or 2-star reviews. Just get over it, get 5 stars, make improvements if you need to the product and move on. But if you're getting flooded with 1-star reviews, then there's nothing you can do about it. You're just going to have to move on and go find the next opportunity. But to avoid this in the beginning, so say you find a great product category and you want to make sure it goes smoothly, make sure you get inspections done. Okay, so get inspections done at the manufacturer where they check the quality of the product, make sure everything lines up, make sure that it works properly. They take a certain percentage of products off the line and they test them for you. They send you back video reports, photo reports, written reports, and they let you know what the defect rate is and everything like that. That way you can get the problem fixed before you get it sent all the way to an Amazon FBA warehouse. Trust me, this would have saved probably my first product. This would have saved my first product and had it do a little bit better overall. Probably would have failed long-term still anyways. But over time, this has saved me thousands and thousands of dollars because there have been issues that we've got to resolve before we send it to Amazon FBA warehouse. Whereas if we send them to Amazon FBA warehouse, it would have been a disaster. Those products would have sold. We got 1-star reviews. We'd have to take them out of Amazon's warehouse, which is just, take bulk products out of Amazon's warehouse is a nightmare to get them sent back home. So just get an inspection done. Make sure you take your time vetting suppliers. Okay, get samples, right? So take your time. I talked to suppliers for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I talked to at least 15 suppliers in that niche to really understand, get the feel and everything like that. And I get at least 3 different sets of samples from manufacturers to really test quality. So make sure you guys are taking your time. Don't skip steps there because again, you can find the best product field in the world or the best product idea. But if you have 1-star, 2-star review quality, it's all over. Okay, something to keep in mind there. Number 9, inventory management. So a huge mistake people make is running out of stock, right? So this is something you probably don't need to think about your first go ahead. If you sell your first 300 units and you run out of stock for your second order, that's fine, right? Because you're just testing the product out. But after that, running out of stock is huge for your rankings. So if you run out of stock, you're going to lose your BSR, you're going to lose all momentum. And when you're first starting a product, it's all about momentum. It's all about keeping sales velocity going, as quick as possible, as fast as possible, as consistent as possible. And if you have anything that hiccups that, it's like starting over almost at some points. Again, depends on the scenario a little bit of how long you're out of stock and what your market looks like. But let's say you finally got ranked at number 5 in your best keyword, and then you run out of stock and you go back to page 20 or whatever it is. And then you get that thing, get the stock back in, and then you got to restart that engine all again, which takes more advertising, more launching, everything like that. So make sure you guys have a good inventory management system figured out. I do what's called a build to, so just making sure you have 3 months in stock, in Amazon's warehouse, or we do another 3 months of stock within the US to make sure that's always ready to go. That way we can always siphon back in and put more stock in there if we get into a pinch, everything like that. All right, guys, on to number 10 here. So number 10, thanks for watching this video all the way through. If you made it this far, these are the real nuggets are right here at the end for you. So number 10 is thinking about the short term and not the long term. Okay. So many people, they want to make money for 6 months, get rich quick, and just sell a trendy product and make some money really fast. Well, when you think about just the short term, you make short-term decisions, you're going to get short-term results. You're not going to have a product that sells for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road. And that's what we want, because the real benefits of this business comes when you have a product on Amazon longer than a year. Like that's when your ranking gets like solidified. You get your margins figured out. You get all the product issues kind of figured out if there's any, and you just have more time to sell. You finally have a good amount of reviews because you've been on Amazon for a good while now. You're starting to figure out like what makes Amazon tick. You're starting to figure out the algorithm. You get your listing optimized, and this is kind of where the real rewards get reaped here, is after a year, after 2 years. So you need to be making decisions for the long term. Taking your time with finding your right product, taking your time to making sure the quality of the product is fantastic, that you have a certain angle into the market, taking your time on building your listing correctly, getting the right photos, getting the right copy, getting the right indexing keywords in there to make sure that you're doing this for the long term. Okay. So that's biggest for me is when I first did this business, it was just for the short term. But if you think a year out, think of 2 years out and think where you're going to be for that, that's where you have success. That's when your life changes, when you think about that in those steps of making a decision that's going to be best for you in 2 years versus just 6 months. Okay. So that's the biggest one for me was when I first started this business, full disclosure, I just wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to hit home runs, everything like that. Then as I kept going, kept learning, I realized like that was miserable. Me trying to just find trendy product, home run after home run. Like, no, it's just not the way it works. Yes, you can hit 1 out of a million. And luckily the fourth product I did was kind of in that boat. But honestly, I thought it did me a disservice having that much success at first. I'd rather have a slow build because I didn't have any sales after that trendy year I had my first year. And, after that, say I had a product that stayed, I could have just slowly just got that product up and up and up, and it go to hit, 5,000 a month and 10,000 a month and 30,000 a month. And then sitting here 4 years later, that product would have been doing what? 50,000 a month with great margins and me have a stranglehold on the whole market. I'd rather have that scenario than a trendy product and just make a little bit of money after 6 months, because most likely you're going to fail every single one of those types of products. And it's just a miserable lifestyle, just hoping for something to blow up. Like it's so stressful. It's better just to think long-term, go day by day. When you think in that long-term, you're not going to have that crazy stress when it comes to feeling that pressure, everything like that. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to throw in a bonus tip here, guys. And that is, people who have success in this business, I guess the biggest mistake people make here is they give up, right? So Amazon changes so fast. So if you stay in this market for 6 months, 12 months, you're going to know just as much as the other guy, because that's how fast it changes. Like it's like a whole new curriculum every single year. So if you don't give up, you take your time, you get over a hurdle. You're going to have hurdles. You're going to have a lot of hurdles in this business. But if you take your time and just really just expect that, be patient, make the right decisions, and again, don't give up, then you're going to have a lot of success in this business. Just stay there, stay put, get after it day after day, and then eventually those results will compound. And a year from now, you're going to be sitting there just laughing like, oh, I can't believe I did that. That was actually kind of easy. But I know when you're in that moment, it doesn't feel that way. But if you could just stay there, don't give up, keep problem solving, enjoy problem solving, right? Because it's a business. Every business has problems you have to solve. That's what you are, just a glorified problem solver. So just keep solving problem after problem, enjoy solving those problems like a puzzle. And then all of a sudden, a year from now, 2 years from now, you're going to have a low 7-figure Amazon business, and you're gonna be laughing. Be like, okay, that was kind of easy. I just took it day by day, and there we are. But that was my mistakes there, guys. Top 10 mistakes that cost me a lot of money, a lot of time. Hopefully that helped you guys kind of get clarity of some of the bigger mistakes on there. Some of my personal experiences, give you a bonus there. Number 11 when it comes to not giving up, keep pushing through. Otherwise, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I'll put some other videos up on this channel here at the end of the video to make sure that you can go find some other things that might be helpful for you when it comes to this kind of stuff. Any questions at all, let me know in the comments down below. Any other videos you want me to make, again, comments down below. I kind of keep a mental log. If I want to hear more about branding or hear more about sourcing, things like that, keep a mental log, and that way it helps me make new videos in the future there. But yeah, guys, that's it. Hope it was a good one, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.